Yeah, she had a hot outfit.
Yeah, she's pretty badass too.
All right. All right, we are back. This is the Midpoint Marvelous Facts. Carl is going to take it away. We are covering Daredevil and Iceman this week. Let's kick it off with Iceman since that was the first book.
All right.
Carl, what do you got as far as Iceman goes?
Iceman's first appearance was in X-Men #1 in September of 1963. And the fact I found on him is when Iceman first appeared in X-Men #1, he was a snowman. When he transformed into his mutant powers, he was a snowman in yellow boots.
I think I knew that and totally forgot about that, to be honest with you. Trev, you got any tidbits on Iceman you find interesting?
No, I got nothing.
I got a count of his girlfriends here if you guys are interested in the list of chicks he used to date.
Yeah, go for it. He used to be quite a ladies' man before he became a man's man.
Yeah. We got Judy Harmon, whoever the hell that is. Zelda. Darksta. Polaris. Annie Gazakarnian. Shadowcat. Mystique. Opal Tanaka, Marge Smith, aka Mirage, and then I did also find out that his ice is sharp enough to impale Thor.
Oh, that's dope.
That's a pretty cool tidbit, right?
That's really fucking dope.
How about our other man, our book we decided to all buy, Daredevil? Well, what do you got on Daredevil there, Carl?
All right. Daredevil's first appearance was in Daredevil #1 in April of 1964. And the fact I found on him was Daredevil inspired the creation of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Starting with the opening scene of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was a little boy saving a blind man from an acid accident. That chemical fell into the water, which created the turtles. Splinter was named in reference of Stick, Daredevil's trainee, and the Foot Clan is an exact reference of the hand.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's all coming together, huh?
It's all coming together in my mind.
I found something just random. I never knew that Daredevil had a animal sidekick for a period of time there. That was Deuce the Devil Dog. That's his name. Foggy ended up losing this dog in a poker game. That was even better.
Oh my god.
Fucking Foggy. All right. And any other random facts about those two heroes or the guys we're covering this week? Anyone know any new info on Spider-Man nobody knows about?
No.
Yeah, he's pretty well versed history there. You can't really question at this point. And speaking of Spider-Man, that'll end our Midpoint Marvelous Facts segment. And we're getting into our last book of the evening. And that is Amazing Spider-Man #28. Currently one of Marvel's longest running ongoing series. Yeah, so we're going to get right into this. This is the finale of his latest mix-up with the Green Goblin. They're in the nation of, and you're going to have to grammar check my pronunciations here. Sokovia, is that where they're at?
Symkaria or
Symkaria.
Jesus Christ, I'm awful too.
Symkarian monarch. That's what it is. So Symkaria.
Symkaria. Yeah, that sounds right.
So that's where they're at. This is a nation Goblin has taken over. In case we haven't really recapped any of this story arc yet. This is the ending there. Goblin has fired a missile into the sky. He's about to turn the people of Symkaria into his Goblin minions. Basically, he's gonna have a whole Goblin nation, quote unquote, at his disposal to use as troops, and whatever he pleases. Follow his orders. So Spider-Man and Sable see all this going down, and Spider-Man, along with Mockingbird, decide the best course of action is for Mockingbird to take off after this rocket, try to disable it that way, while Sable sends her people into town to try to get the quote-unquote victims out of harm's way. Spider-Man and Sable then go to attack the castle where the big bads are, Goblin and his latest Lady Love, the queen of this nation, if you will, or the princess, whatever she is. On Mockingbird's way up the into the sky after the missile, she's hollering at Shield, who she recently quit on her way to help Spider-Man, to help her out with this missile. They're initially refusing, they're like, no, you quit, you're on your own. But she mentions how many people are in danger, and if I'm not mistaken, they decide to help out, right?
I think so.
Yeah, they decided to come on down.
So that's the Nick Fury Countess. I knew I was mixing up. That's not princess. That's like queen though, right? Countess is queen.
Yeah, kind of like a count. I think a count is kind of like a king or a count and countess.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like an Eastern European king or queen, kind of.
Yeah. I remember the Count from Sesame Street.
Yeah,
that's the count that comes to mind when you say count and countess.
Count Dracula was a king, right? Count Dracula, he was like a king. He had an army.
At one point, before he even became a Dracula, he was like king shit, right?
Yeah. Vlad
he adopted a new name, a fancier moniker, along with his transformation. Back to Spider-Man, and they're storming this castle. Sable ends up, taking the chick, and Spider-Man ends up taking Goblin. He starts chasing him down. Sable and the Countess end up having a pretty sweet sword fight, which I thought was probably pleased me more than it really should have. I thought that was cool as hell.
Me too.
I agree.
Like the big clang when they both hit the swords.
Yeah, so I wasn't just being like, a pervert because there's a woman in a sexy dress and tight spandex fighting. But anyway, Spider-Man goes off after, or a pervert alone, should I say. Spider-Man goes off after the Green Goblin, whose face is just completely trashed. He's had so many face transplants. The final one really didn't take, and he's like Two-Face all over. Pretty much all over his face.
He looks like the guy. He almost looks like the Green Goblin with white skin.
Yeah, that's a good. Actually, I didn't even think of it that way. He really kind of does, and really not the elfy looking ears and like you said, the green skin. Well, anyway, Spider-Man initially is just like, hey, listen, you don't have your powers. You should just kind of give up. Until Goblin throws this like first of several tricks his way, which takes out his spider sense, and it kind of snaps Spider-Man out of underestimating who he's dealing with here. He's like, I'm dealing with Norman Osborn, who's in a way even worse than the Green Goblin, because he'll do whatever, meaning like he can kind of anticipate the Goblin's moves more than an Osborn's, I guess. Is something you can pull out of it. Yeah. Like Goblin's more evil for evil's sake, and Osborn is more like, a Bruce Wayne think everything through type thing, So the first gas knocks out his spider sense. Second gas he gets thrown his way knocks out his like sticky powers. Because he's trying to climb up this wall and just hits the ground hard. And then this quote unquote detonator Spider-Man thought he had ends up being basically like what's it called? Like, is it an EMP grenade kind of thing?
Yeah.
Where it takes out all of Spider-Man's like electronics and basically short circuits his suit. So Spider-Man is left basically powerless at this point in time. Which is pretty cool. So Osborn has, since he has no powers, he has devised a method to get Spider-Man down to his level, and make it, a fair fight. This obviously, like, with the history with Osborn, enrages Spider-Man. You know, he flashes back to a Gwen Stacy moment, and he tackles Osborn out of one of these castle windows, and Osborn looks just ugly as all hell. I wish this wasn't so shadowed, this scene on this splash page here,
because that's the worser side of his face.
Yeah. Like, I wish they just totally unleashed there and let you see it all in its full glory. Then Spider-Man's eye over on that next page is just like hazelish and cool, and
it's
just
so detailed,
like crystal clear, like photogenic. So they go flying out the window, and we're kind of left with a mini cliffhanger until we come back to that thread, because we check back in on this missile, and Mockingbird is just like, well, you spider jets, because they got like spider jets deployed, from Parker Industries. Like, she's like, you better do something spidery. You know? That was a good line. Meanwhile, it looks like the Countess has Sable kind of down for the count, until we get a nice little turn of events, and I thought it was a cool way that ends up turning on its head, and we'll come back to that, because we join Spider-Man and Norman, who are just wailing the shit out of each other down this mountainside. It's really just like a street fight with two people that hate each other's guts, just taking shots at each other's dome.
It really is. But
it's go ahead.
I love that they're fighting without any powers. Like, it's just one-on-one, regular guy against regular guy, taking their frustrations for each other out on each other. Like,
yeah, and never at this point would you be like, well, why is his face still attached to his body? Because Spider-Man is, one of the strongest dudes around. But yeah, his powers are just completely removed from him at this point. So it's like just Peter Parker versus Norman Osborn, essentially, is what the fight boils down to. Who wants it more? And it the one problem I have with this book is just this pacing here, because all of a sudden you interrupt this just brutal fist fight that's not over, to join back in on the Spider Jets, who have managed to do something quote unquote spidery and save this missile from hitting the ground. Because Black Widow, I was going to say Black Widow, Mockingbird ends up disabling the missile, but like the impact was still going to set it off in a smaller area, and catching this missile stopped all that.
With all the spider webs.
The Jets saved the day with some webbing, and then Silver Sable ends up able to get just like really a mini cut, like just a scratch on this Countess, and just like reveals her shallow nature, and like she gives up. Yeah.
Press under her eye.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. I thought that was like, she's not really to spill any blood for her nation. She's just the opposite of Silver Sable, essentially, is what that all boils down to.
It rolled pretty well too, from like Norman's doing his speech, and then he's like ready for the bomb, and he's like, wait, where the hell's the explosion? And then it cuts to the webbing, and then I loved it. Just flows nicely.
Yeah, that wasn't the problem I had. Like, the sword fight is again thrown in here out of nowhere. I would have just liked them to finish the sword fight on that previous page. You know what I'm saying?
Because then all of a sudden it's over.
Yeah, and then Spider-Man again finds a rock and swings it at Norman and gets the upper hand in the fight. And just kind of mentions, as they're really just out of gas, that he is the one that always wins, because he just wants it more. Like, his intentions are more pure, really.
Yeah.
And that's when Norman sees S.H.I.E.L.D. start flying overhead. And Spider-Man just mentions like how he has friends that have helped him, stop you again. That's what the difference between us is. That's what it boils down to. And when Spider-Man looks up, Norman takes off running, and he doesn't go after him. He like just passes out.
Yeah,
and I was so pissed here.
Did you see his eye though? Like it was like swelled shut. Like when he's like,
yeah,
and
like
I'm
a
with the
boxing
good guys.
match. A dude that just got his ass whooped because he took some punishment. He did.
He looks so bad.
Really doesn't have his healing factor fully kicking in right now, and passes out, and Norman gets away. So all the other heroes end up tracking him down. You know, he reports back to town with the people to find Aunt May and the Uncle Ben Foundation, you know, taking care of the people. But the book ends with Norman on a ship out of town, you know, just really pissed off at Spider-Man, saying he's going to be back and going to embrace the Goblin again next time.
I can't wait.
Next time he's around. So, and the Goblin looks disturbing. You know what I'm saying?
It really does. It looks fucking insane, man.
So
I love that he has to like, because isn't it like he's immune to the like his Goblin formula? So like he's gonna have to like create something new to make him be the Green Goblin again. So it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah. He's gonna keep that just disturbed looking face. It's not gonna get better.
No. I hope that is the exact face with like. I hope when he does return, Stuart Immonen is still on the book, and that is the Green Goblin face we get when he comes back.
Yeah, he keeps doing that face because it was haunting throughout the issue. But you know how we do things, guys. We tell you to buy it, borrow it, or forget it altogether. This is my segment, my section of Spidey things we cover. And overall, you know, this story, although I wasn't on board with it 100% when it kicked off, I think that had a lot to do with how it started with the $10 issue. That didn't give you much more than a regular issue. You know, other than that, I've gotten over that sour taste in my mouth, and I've been able to enjoy it more. And I like the way that it concluded. I feel like this was the best conclusion to a Spider-Man story that we've read in a long time, as far as anything Dan Slott writes. And I'm starting to come around on the Immonen art just more than I was at first. You know, I wasn't really thrilled about the change at first. While I never thought the art was horrible, you know what I'm saying? It's always been good art. It just wasn't what I wanted on a Spider-Man book until this issue really, like, you can see he had a lot of time to do it, and there's just detail, and it's not so dark and covered up by ink. Just looks great. So it's a buy all around for me. And this was probably the most fun I've had reading an issue of Spider-Man as it's come out, you know, not an older issue or an older trade in a long time. So what do you think, Trev?
I fucking I loved it. You know, from the Alex Ross covers, yeah, I was a little bummed that Giuseppe Camuncoli was leaving. It's cool that he's on Darth Vader, but I was bummed that he's leaving because I've started to really grow and love his art. But I'm a big fan of Stuart Immonen, and this is just like top choice. And I feel what you're saying about the beginning of this story, starting with the $10 issue, and you really didn't get anything special out of that issue. It was just like kind of like a run-of-the-mill Spider-Man story. For something that was supposed to be like a special anniversary 25, you know, number 25 issue. But I am really glad how this ended. I feel like Immonen's finding his footing. It set something up. Like, I had a really good, like, the ending made the rest of it so much better. Immonen found his footing. It set good stuff up for the future. Like, I'm excited to see what happens, like, when Osborn comes back, because you know Slott's going to be on this book for a long, long time still.
Yeah.
And you know Goblin's coming back, and he really loves to play with the, like, you know, the cool Spider-Man's Rogue Gallery. He likes to, you know, he loves to play with Dr. Octopus and Green Goblin, like all the really
classics.
fun. Yeah, the classics. I love the pairing. And I think it started ever since the beginning of the series that I love the pairing with Spider-Man and Mockingbird always hanging out together. I loved them bringing in Silver Sable. This is a complete buy for me all around. This art, the color was so good. Like when
the
when it
colors were
when it
spot on this issue. It
oh my
wasn't so
god,
dark, like I said. Like some of the previous, my beef with the previous issues was they were colored like too dark. It was too in the shadows, and
yeah, it really was because a lot of took
this
place at
one
really
was the
night.
opposite, really. Yeah.
Yeah, and there was like moments where there's fire in the room, and Spider-Man's like the color of his costume, you could tell like from the reflection of like the fire or the sun, and then
Yeah.
when they're outside and it's what is it
The
sunset when they're
sunset or
outside.
the
Oh
sunrise,
my
whatever's going
god,
on. Yeah.
it looks beautiful in the mountains, like where you could see the
I
sun
like
starting to
the
go down.
black and white panel in the giant splash page that reads beautifully with Gwen and Spider-Man just kind of out of nowhere, but it looks just perfectly.
That was
fits
great.
perfectly with everything.
And his eye right next to that, so detailed and perfect. And then if you look down, like how it has like that rectangle panel with Norman, but at the bottom, like left little other rectangle panel with Spider-Man, where you could see both of his eyes, and you could see the light from the window reflecting off his like light brown eyes. It looks so fucking awesome.
Yeah. Bye. What do you think, Carl? We're gushing. What do you think? Because you're not you don't read it as an ongoing book, so that you'll have maybe a different thought. What do you think jumping in here?
So I wanted to buy this book like real bad. I was waiting for a Spider-Man book that I'd just like, yeah, I jumped into this at issue 20 something. I was like, yeah, let's buy it. But I felt so lost, and you guys were talking to me about it off air. Like, this storyline goes back a long time.
Oh yeah.
So for me, it's a borrow. The art was on point. I'm not going to say anything bad about the art. I'm not going to say anything bad about the story. Just if you're jumping in and this is your first issue of Spider-Man, definitely borrow it. Like it was for me. This is my first issue of the Amazing Spider-Man story. So it's a borrow. I am excited for the Doc Ock stuff coming up, though. Like I saw when you go see the cover for next issue.
Drop the mic.
Yep.
I was excited for that, but yeah, Brandon, I was really hoping you were going to give me a Spider-Man book I could just like jump right in and be like, yeah, this is my Spider-Man book.
That'll probably be, well, not next issue because it's going to be the Secret Wars tie-in, but that'll be coming up probably. A jumping on point. Well, yes, fucking Secret Empire.
You wrote that in the notes.
It's probably going to be Spectacular Spider-Man because it'll start at a #1 and I can start at even ground.
Yeah, that'll be a good. That's next. Is that next week? Oh no, that's 2 weeks. I think it's the 2 weeks.
After. Yeah, 2 weeks.
All right. Well, we got what? 2 buys and 1 borrow for Amazing. So to sum up, our 3 books overall, we had Iceman, which we unanimously said forget. Don't even pick that up. You might get something on your fingers you can't get rid of. Daredevil 21, buy, borrow, or forget. We all said to buy. And then Amazing Spider-Man 28. The overall thought was to buy it. If you're brand new, Carl said to borrow. So that's where we're jumping in there. Just a new mini segment this week before we close things out and wrap things up. It's going to be called Honorable Mentions. And that's just kind of some other books we've been reading. They don't have to be Marvel titles, just other things that we like. We're not going to go in detail about them, but maybe books that if you have similar interests or agree with what we say about the books that we cover each week, you might like checking out. So first one I got here is from Trevitt. So Trevitt, what do you say as far as honorable mentions go this week? What's your suggestion for people to check out?
My suggestion this week for people to check out is Paper Girls on Image by Brian K. Vaughan and Cliff Chang, formerly who did the Wonder Woman run with Brian Azzarello. Really awesome book that I highly recommend. But you got to start at the beginning because it's like a long form story. So if it's not really like a 6-issue arc book. I mean, there are arcs, but it's all one long story. So you still feel lost if you pick up in the middle. But good news is that there are only like 13 issues in, and the books are so easy to read that like when I first got in, I had to read the first 2 trades, and I read them both in one sitting. They were that good. Like I couldn't put them down. I burned right through them. So
better news is first trade's only $9.99.
Yeah, and the first trade's $9.99. You can't really go wrong.
Something you can catch up on quick. What about you, Carl? What's your suggestion for something to check out? or check out when you're
For-
not
For
reading
this
stuff
week,
Marvel.
it's Injustice 2. It's gonna probably, if we're doing this again, I'm probably gonna try to find something different. But this is my first book every single week when I get my books. It's the first one I go to. It's a weekly story, digital first story, so they're only $1 a piece. Real quick reads. It's by Tom Taylor and Bruno Redondo. It is well worth $1 in your time to read this book.
Yeah. I agree with you. I love on Tuesdays it usually comes out. It had 1 week on Wednesday, but on Tuesdays I love checking out some Injustice when I get home from work. It's usually the first thing I do before I like start dinner or anything like that. As far as I go, I stepped outside my normal Marvel DC suggestions, and there's not many of them. And that would be a Boom production, and that is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Just the main series. That they have a few spin-offs that you don't really need to get involved with. But the story, as far as the main series goes, has just been a long form, pretty cool concept idea, and just well put together story by Higgins. What's the first name? Is it Ryan?
Kyle.
So Kyle Higgins. And the
Nightwing.
artist switched up a couple times, but I don't know the artist off the top of my head. But buy that book. It's been a great read, especially if you have any interest in the Power Rangers. Even if you don't, I think you would really like it, because you don't need to know who's who. They do a good job quickly introducing them and just giving them each a voice. So I've enjoyed that. I have the whole series and issues. So
I've read the first few issues. It is pretty awesome.
Yeah, it is. It's like kind of a whole Green Ranger, White Ranger thing going on here, and they're on another Earth. It's just been crazy. So it's not kiddie. You know what I'm saying? It's just adult enough. So I've enjoyed it. But that's it for this week. Tune in again next week, guys. In the meantime, if you're trying to get a hold of us, you know how to reach us. We'll just recover those again real quick, either by email, marvelmadnesspod@gmail.com. We'll read whatever live on air. We'd like to discuss questions, or you guys have any questions about books you've read, or you hate our opinions, or you like our opinions, you agree with us. Let us know, and we'd be happy to discuss. Or throughout the week, we post some stuff on Mondays on the Weird Science site as far as reviews go for the books we just covered, and just some random things throughout the week, like the Black Panther trailers on our Twitter page and stuff like that. That is at Madness Marvel 1. So you can check that stuff out there. And all links are provided in the tweets. Next week, we're just going to go over what we're going to cover. So you have some stuff to look forward to. As far as Spider titles go, I think I'm going to roll with the amazing. We just did that one. Scarlet Spider 3. And if I do end up changing my mind at last minute and pivot, that would be for Renew Your Vows 8. So it's going to be one of those two, or Renew Your Vows 9, whatever one they're on.
Good choice.
As far as heroes go, what about you, Carl? What are you looking at?
So I ran through the hero section and I found a number 1. I'm going to be doing Defenders number 1. I love letting people start off hear our opinions on number 1s, where we just start off the series with them. So check it out, hear what we got to say about that one.
And Trev, what about your Inhuman X-Men area of the world? What are you thinking about?
All right. Well, I really wanted to do. I really wanted to do all new Wolverine number 21, but I'm thinking about it, and I was thinking maybe I should do Old Man Logan 25, because it starts a new arc, and it'd be easier to recommend than something, right in the middle. Yeah, because all new Wolverine is like the 3rd issue into a new arc, so it'd be pretty confusing. So I think I'm going to go with Old Man Logan with Diodato and Ed Brisson. So.
All right. Well, that's what you guys got to look forward to next week. And then we'll also, to close things out, bring you our thoughts on Secret Empire number 4. So I think that's coming out next week as well. And with all that covered and all the madness over with, we're going to end things that way. You guys got any final thoughts before we head on out of here? The Penguins just won the Stanley Cup, in case you're wondering.
Hey, look at that.
while we were recording. I had that. So if you didn't hear me for long stretches of the the podcast while you guys were talking, it's because I was glancing to my left watching the TV. But other than that, any last minute thoughts before we check out?
I got nothing.
Quick shout out to Nation of Nerds podcast, man. I just want a free trade.
Oh, nice. What trade?
Wonder Woman Volume 1, The Lies.
There you go.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I like that story in the beginning. It falls off the rails a little bit at the end, if you ask me. But
nah, my wife's excited about that. I'm getting that just for her. She used to read all the Wonder Womans and review it for Nerd Church Radio's website.
Yeah.
So she's excited to get that trade in because she really loved Nicholas Scott and the other artist. I can't remember his name.
That's the Liam Sharp one, right? The Lies?
Yeah, Liam Sharp. Yeah, The Lies is Liam Sharp. She loved both the Year One and Lies stories, so she's excited that I'm getting that one for her.
All right. Well, shout out to them. Shout out to Joe Crawford on Twitter, who's always liking our stuff and listening. So anybody else, you're listening. We love you too. We're out of here. Party's over. More madness next week. Sayonara, guys.
Later.
Check this out, right? Do you guys know the last arc